This scrunchie is the perfect fast project to make on your knitting machine. You'll just need some velvet yarn, some scrap yarn, and you'll need either elastic or a scrunchie, depending on what your preference is. You're going to want to cast on your scrap yarn and go around about 5 to 7 rounds. Cut your scrap yarn and add your velvet yarn. You're going to want to go around 15 to 20 rounds depending on how big you want your scrunchie to be. Once you've gone the desired number of rounds, do not cut your working yarn, just remove it, add your scrap yarn and go for about 5 to 7 rounds. Then you're going to cut it and keep going until your project falls off your knitting machine. For this next part, grab your crochet hook, about a 5 millimeters fine, and you want to grab your scrunchies. If you choose to use a scrunchie, please make sure you give it a good stretch to make sure it's strong. I prefer elastic. To measure it, I like to measure about around my wrist loosely. I like to give my project a little stretch so I can see all the stitches that I'm working in. I have big hands, so I can't handle working on small projects. I like this side to show, so what I'm going to do is flip it inside out so that the part that I want on the inside of my scrunchie will be on the outside for this next part. As you can see, I used an elastic and I just tied a knot on it, and I'm going to use it to kind of cinch the project around the center. Just kind of adjust it a little, make sure everything's where it should be. Now find your working yarn. Once you find your working yarn, this is where you are going to start slip stitching the two sides of the scrunchie together. This is where the scrap yarn comes in handy because it lets you clearly see where the last row is. Once you're done slip stitching, you want to grab your working yarn and cut it, leaving a few inches left. So you want to remove all of your scrap yarn from the scrunchie. At this point, I like to tie 2 or 3 knots with the yarn that's left, just to really secure it in place. Once it's tied, I weave it in, give it a good stretch to hide the ends, and you have your scrunchie ready to go.